You ever sit down with a bowl of dried fruit or slice into a juicy melon, thinking you're doing something good for your body? Maybe even feeling a little proud that you chose fruit over cookies or chips. I get it. It feels like the right thing, especially when we're trying to take care of ourselves. But what if I told you, some of the fruits we reach for, the ones we believe are safe, even healthy, might be quietly doing harm? It starts small. You feel a little dizzy after snacking. Maybe your heart skips a beat now and then. Or you wake up more tired than usual, no matter how early you went to bed. So you figure, it's just age. But deep down, something doesn't feel quite right. I've sat with so many folks, good, thoughtful people, who couldn't believe that their fruit choices had anything to do with their blood pressure, blood sugar, or even the risk of a stroke. Because no one told them. No one warned them that sugar can hide behind a healthy label, or that some fruits, especially dried ones, don't play nice with certain medications. Today, we're going to talk gently, clearly, and honestly about those quiet dangers. You won't find fear here, just truth and some simple choices you can make starting today. And before we dive in, if you've ever reached for fruit thinking it was the better choice, type 1 in the comments. If fruits never fooled you, type 0. And make sure to hit subscribe so you stay in the loop with Health 365. Now, let's take a closer look at that first innocent snack that might be quietly hardening your arteries. You know that feeling when you sprinkle a handful of raisins onto your morning oatmeal or mix them into your salad, thinking, this adds a little sweetness, and it's natural, so it must be healthy? That's a moment many of us have shared. But here's something we don't often realize. Raisins are tiny, yes, but they pack a powerful punch when it comes to sugar. When grapes turn into raisins, water vanishes, but sugar concentrates. Just a handful can equal a candy bar's sugar, spiking blood sugar and straining vessels, especially risky with diabetes, prediabetes, or slower aging metabolism. Now, why does that matter for your brain? Because when your blood sugar jumps like that over and over again, the lining of your arteries starts to suffer. It becomes stiff, less flexible. The smooth flow of blood to your brain is interrupted, little by little. Over time, this can increase the risk of plaque buildup, making it harder for blood to reach where it needs to go. And all that, just from raisins? It might sound unbelievable, but many doctors have seen this in practice. Patients trying to do better, swapping cookies for trail mix, only to find out their healthy choice was sabotaging their efforts. One woman I spoke to had been adding raisins to her cereal every morning for years. After switching them out for a few slices of fresh pear, her blood sugar levels improved within weeks. She was shocked, but mostly she was relieved. If you love that burst of sweetness in your breakfast or snack, try switching to a few slices of apple or a handful of berries. They're lower in sugar, more hydrating, and gentler on your blood vessels. Let's move gently to the next fruit that might seem like a summertime treat, but could be sending mixed signals to your heart. There's something comforting about cutting into a ripe cantaloupe. The color is soft, the smell is sweet, and on a warm day, it feels like the perfect healthy treat. But for some folks, especially those with kidney issues or taking certain medications, cantaloupe can quietly stir up trouble beneath the surface. Cantaloupe is rich in potassium. Normally, that's a good thing. It helps your muscles and heart function. But when your kidneys aren't working at full strength, or if you're on diuretics, your body may struggle to get rid of excess potassium. That's when things get risky. Too much potassium in the blood can cause irregular heartbeats. It doesn't always feel dramatic. You might notice some lightheadedness, maybe a flutter in your chest. But it's your heart signaling that something's off. Then there's the sugar. While cantaloupe may seem less sweet than other fruits, It actually has a fairly high glycemic index. That means it raises your blood sugar faster than you'd expect. For older adults, that quick spike can lead to an energy crash, brain fog, or a sudden drop in mood, without you even linking it back to the fruit. One gentleman I worked with used to eat cantaloupe every night after dinner. It was his way of avoiding dessert, but his blood sugar kept bouncing up and down. After switching to a small portion of berries, his levels became more stable, and he didn't miss the cantaloupe nearly as much as he thought he would. So if you enjoy cantaloupe, it's okay, but enjoy it mindfully. A few small cubes once in a while won't hurt, but eating large portions regularly, especially if your kidneys are struggling, can be more harmful than helpful. Now let's take a look at a crunchy snack that often shows up in trail mixes, and how it might be nudging your arteries toward danger. There's something oddly comforting about the crunch of banana chips. You reach into the bag thinking, "It's just fruit. This can't be bad for me." They're golden, sweet, and satisfying. But the truth hiding behind that crunchy bite is less innocent than it seems. Most banana chips you find in stores aren't just dried. They're deep-fried in oils and tossed in sugar. What you're really eating is more like a sugary, greasy snack in disguise. See? The frying process adds trans fats, the kind of fat that hardens your arteries like glue. When those fats settle in, they make it harder for blood to pass through, especially to sensitive areas like the brain. And then comes the sugar. Even if you're not pouring sugar into your coffee, banana chips can deliver a surprise dose of it in every bite. It's a double blow. Fat and sugar teaming up to wear down your blood vessels and spike your blood sugar, all in one go. What's tricky is, it doesn't feel like junk food. You don't feel guilty eating it. It feels natural. That's what makes it so sneaky. One older gentleman I worked with kept a bowl of banana chips on his kitchen table. It was his healthy treat while watching TV. But he couldn't figure out why he felt sluggish, dizzy, and had frequent brain fog. Once he cut back on those chips and switched to some sliced apple and a handful of almonds, his energy bounced back. So here's the thing. You don't have to give up snacks, but you deserve snacks that love your body back. That means reading the label, skipping the deep-fried sweet stuff, and choosing foods that truly nourish. If you want crunch, roasted nuts, or crisp vegetables are a better friend to your heart and your brain. Next, let's take a walk through a garden fruit that seems harmless, but might be playing a confusing game with your medication. Mulberries. Just saying the word brings back memories of childhood for some. Maybe you remember picking them fresh off the tree, the deep purple juice staining your fingers. They seem like nature's candy, sweet, soft, and innocent. But even the most natural-looking foods can have unexpected effects, especially as we get older. Here's the thing with mulberries. They're often praised for their antioxidants, but they also come packed with natural sugars. And when dried, those sugars become even more concentrated. That might not sound so bad at first, but if you're taking medications to manage your blood sugar, like many older adults are, those dried mulberries can push your levels in the wrong direction fast. And it doesn't always go one way. In some people, mulberries drop the blood sugar too low, especially when taken with medication. That sudden crash can leave you lightheaded, confused, or worse. I once spoke with a woman who had been adding dried mulberries to her breakfast, thinking they were helping her health. But she started having episodes where her hands would shake and her mind felt foggy. Turns out, the mulberries were clashing with her diabetes medication, creating a roller coaster of highs and lows that wore her out day after day. The blood vessels in your brain don't like that kind of ride. They need steady, stable energy, not sharp drops and climbs. Those ups and downs put a strain on circulation, weakening the vessel walls over time. That's when the risk of stroke starts to creep in. So what can you do? If you love mulberries, fresh is best, and in small amounts. But if you're on medication for blood sugar, talk to your doctor. Better to adjust now than be caught off guard later. Coming up next, let's explore a fruit you'll often find in granola and holiday snacks. But it hides more added sugar than you'd ever expect. Dried cranberries. Just the name sounds festive, doesn't it? You see them tossed into granola, sprinkled over salads, or baked into muffins during the holidays. Their bright color makes them look so fresh and healthful. But beneath that ruby red glow is a whole lot of added sugar that most people never notice. Cranberries, in their natural form, are actually quite tart. That's why, to make them palatable, manufacturers often coat them with sugar, sometimes more than double their weight. The result? A small handful of dried cranberries can have just as much sugar as a piece of candy. And if you're someone trying to care for your heart or keep your blood sugar steady, that's a big deal. Here's where it gets even more complicated. That added sugar doesn't just cause your blood sugar to spike. It can lead to long-term inflammation in your arteries. The walls of your blood vessels become stiff, less flexible, and more prone to plaque buildup. This makes it harder for your brain to get the oxygen-rich blood it needs. It doesn't happen overnight, but day after day, snack after snack, the damage adds up. I remember a man in his 70s who added dried cranberries to his salad every single day. He thought he was being healthy. After all, it wasn't candy or soda. But he kept having dizzy spells and strange fatigue. His doctor finally reviewed his diet, pointed to the cranberries, and gently explained how the sugar was working against him. The man was shocked and a little heartbroken. But once he replaced them with fresh blueberries, his energy improved and his blood pressure stabilized. So here's the truth. Dried cranberries aren't evil, but they are tricky. If you love them, look for versions with no added sugar. Or better yet, reach for a few slices of orange or some fresh grapes. Your brain and blood vessels will thank you for it. Next, let's talk about a sweet golden fruit that looks harmless in your pantry, but can quietly stiffen your arteries with every bite. Apricots are one of those fruits that seem almost too gentle to cause any harm. Soft, golden, slightly tart. They feel like the kind of snack a caring grandparent would keep in a jar for visiting grandkids. And in their fresh form, apricots can be a healthy part of a balanced diet. But once they're dried, the story changes. When apricots are dried, their sugars don't just stay, they concentrate. A few pieces can feel light, but they deliver a heavy load of sugar to your system. And because they're small and easy to nibble, it's easy to eat more than you realize. That steady stream of sugar can quietly raise your blood glucose, stressing your pancreas and hardening your arteries over time. What many people don't know is that the natural sugar in dried apricots acts just like added sugar when it comes to how your blood vessels respond. Repeated sugar spikes cause the lining of your arteries to lose flexibility. That's the first step toward atherosclerosis, a slow, silent narrowing of the vessels that feed your heart and brain. One woman I met kept dried apricots in her purse, thinking they were a smart, low-fat snack. She would pop a few every time she felt hungry. But over time, she started having high blood pressure and felt drained throughout the day. After cutting back and switching to a fresh peach or a small apple, she began to feel more balanced and alert. It's not about cutting out dried fruit completely. It's about awareness. If you enjoy apricots, try slicing a fresh one instead of reaching for the dried version. Fresh fruits come with water and fiber, helping your body process the sugars more gently and naturally. Up next, let's cool things down with a green fruit that's often seen in fruit salads, but might be quietly raising your blood pressure behind the scenes. Honeydew melon. smooth on the outside, pale green and juicy on the inside. It's the kind of fruit that shows up at summer cookouts, brunch buffets, or maybe sliced neatly in your fridge. It feels light, refreshing, and healthy. But for some, especially those over 60, honeydew may be offering more sugar than your body can quietly handle. You see, honeydew is naturally high in sugar, even though it doesn't always taste super sweet. That's the sneaky part. You might think, this tastes mild. It can't be that sugary. But bite after bite, it sends a steady stream of glucose into your bloodstream. And because it's so hydrating, it's easy to eat more than you realize, especially on a warm day. What happens then? Your blood sugar rises quickly. If your body can't keep up, because of insulin resistance or slower metabolism with age, your arteries feel the pressure. Over time, those spikes make your blood vessels less flexible. And when blood vessels lose their flexibility, it's harder for your heart to pump blood smoothly to your brain. That's when brain fog sets in. That's when your risk of stroke begins to climb. There was a man I knew who made a fruit smoothie every morning, always with a generous chunk of honeydew. He thought it was helping him stay light and energized, but he started noticing he needed more naps, felt cloudy after breakfast, and sometimes had heart palpitations. Turns out, his morning melon was giving him more sugar than he needed to start the day. If you love honeydew, you don't have to give it up completely. Just keep your portions small. About half a cup is plenty. And try pairing it with something that slows sugar absorption, like a handful of nuts. That way, you get the hydration and taste, without the sugar overload. Now, let's finish with a fruit that's a beautiful blend of two favorites, but might be delivering more sweetness than your body bargained for. Pluots. A playful name, a beautiful fruit. Just looking at one, you might think, well, it's part plum, part apricot. How bad can it be? They're colorful, juicy, and show up in farmers' markets like little gems in the summer. But here's what most people don't realize. Pluots are one of the sweetest fruits around, and that sweetness comes with a price your blood vessels may not want to pay. Unlike their tart plum ancestors, pluots have been bred to be extra sugary. That means even a small piece delivers a fast, sharp hit of sugar to your bloodstream. If your body is already working hard to manage blood sugar, whether from diabetes, prediabetes, or just the natural changes that come with aging, pluots can tip the balance without warning. And the problem isn't just the sugar, it's the speed. Your blood sugar spikes quickly, forcing your body to scramble. Your pancreas pumps out insulin. Your arteries tense up under the pressure. Over time, this repeated stress wears down the walls of your blood vessels, especially those that serve the brain. What feels like a simple summer snack can turn into a long-term burden on your circulation. One older gentleman I knew would slice up a pluot after dinner, thinking it was better than pie. But he noticed he'd wake up during the night feeling restless, sometimes with a pounding heart. After a checkup, his doctor suggested watching his evening fruit choices. He swapped the pluots for a few slices of kiwi and finally got a full night's sleep again. If you enjoy pluots, treat them like a dessert, not a daily habit. A few slices once in a while, maybe with some protein or healthy fat, can help soften the sugar impact. It's not about fear, it's about balance. Now that we've uncovered the hidden side of these